Welcome to the She Shed. I am super obsessed with these peekaboo / telescoping cards, whatever you want to call them. I think they're really cute and they're very versatile. So this is just a fun little card that says you snailed it. And I started thinking about how cool it would be to make an Easter card. So I'm going to start making this is Smoky Slate. Cardstock is just kind of like a really light gray color. It is 8.5 by 5.5, and we're going to score it at 2 1/8 on each side. Okay, so with the Stampin' Up! Trimmer, there's a black blade or a dark gray blade and a light gray blade, and the light gray blade is the scorer. The dark gray is the actual cutting part. So we're going to line this up at 2 1/8, and I'm going to score it, and I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to score it again at 2 1/8. I thought I just cut it. I just gave myself a hard time. And then we're going to fold it in, making sure that the edges are lined up properly, and then we're just going to, I just use my thumbnail. A lot of people use a bone folder, but I have good feet. I have good nails, so I just crease it with my thumbnail. Okay, so this is a basic gatefold card that opens like this, but we're gonna jazz it up a little bit, okay? So I have these papers here that we're gonna add to the outside of the gatefold card, and I'm going to use the multi-liquid glue. It's pretty sticky stuff, but it gives you time. I go through it a lot. I don't know if I have another one. I hope I have another one somewhere. But it gives you time to adjust the paper once you put it on your cardstock, okay? Where if you were using a tape runner, you wouldn't have the opportunity to really move it around without possibly tearing the paper. Okay, and I just want to move this over just a little bit. And we'll press it down nice and good. And we'll turn it the other way and line the other panel with the same designer series paper. And we're gonna line it up again, trying to keep the margins all around pretty equal. We'll close up and see how I did, and it looks pretty good. Okay, so next we're going to grab a piece of paper that is 5.5 by 3. And we're gonna mount another designer series paper on this. And this is 1/4 inch less all the way around. So it is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. And we're gonna give it a margin all the way around that's pretty equal also. Press it down. All right. Now comes the tricky part. We're gonna let that dry for a minute. Okay, so this part is kind of hard. This part made me confused. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so I have 2 panels that are 4.5 by 3. We're gonna score the 4.5 side at a 1/2 inch. That will leave us with a 3.5 by 3.5 square, okay? So we're gonna fold this out of the way, and now you can see that it's a square piece of cardstock. So we're gonna find the center of the cardstock. This piece of paper, if I can find my pencil. I don't know what I did with it. So we're gonna, if you get like a mechanical pencil and you click it out so that the lead comes out pretty far so that you can make marks in the track of your cutting machine, your paper trimmer, we're gonna, so half of 3 1/2 is 1 3/4. So we're gonna line this up at 1 3/4. And we're gonna mark it in the gutter of the paper trimmer, okay? And then we're gonna turn it the other way. And half of 3 1/2 is 1 3/4. And we're gonna mark it so that there's a section where we can see where the center of the 3 1/2 by 3 1/2 piece of cardstock is, even though it's 3 1/2 by 4. Then we're gonna take the corner that does not include the scored edge, and we're gonna put it in the gutter of the paper trimmer, and then we're gonna close the paper trimmer and line up the mark where the 2 lines come together so that where it intersects is in the gutter. And then we're gonna move our scoring blade out of the way, and we're gonna bring our cutter up, and we're gonna cut up to where the lines come together, okay? So you can see my cut mark here comes to the center where the 2 lines meet. Okay, then we're gonna turn it. We're gonna do the same thing with this side. And we're gonna cut, and then just kind of gently pull on the triangle part that we're gonna release from the rest of the cardstock so that you know when you've cut it all the way up, because it's kind of hard to see. So this is what we're left with. Kind of looks like a Pac-Man that's square, huh? That's what it makes me think of. Okay, so now I'm gonna score this one at a 1/2 inch also, and fold it so I don't cut the wrong side. And then we're gonna do the same thing again. So 1 3/4. Mark it. Turn it the other way. Oops, but not with the, we don't wanna measure with the scored edge because then it'll be all messed up. 1 3/4. Mark it. And then we're gonna do the same thing. Put it in the gutter, line up the corner with the gutter, and then find the intersected line and cut. Cut up to where the lines come together. And it's okay if it's not perfect. Mine's not super perfect, and that's okay. And then we're gonna turn it again. Line up the corner and the X with the gutter. And we're gonna cut. And again, just tug at the triangle part a little bit until it releases, so you know you cut up far enough. Okay, that's the trickiest part, you guys. And I'm not gonna lie, I messed up 10 cards. 10 cards I did wrong. Okay. All right, so now this should be dry, and we're going to use the Stampin' Cut and Die machine, okay? So we're gonna pick a circle that is gonna fit in there without going over the line, and that's a little too big, I think, so I need to find a smaller one. This one, oh yeah, this one looks better. Okay, so we're gonna use this one, and let me bring in my cutting machine. All right. All right. I read somewhere that if you leave your plates in here and run it halfway through, it will help prevent your plates from warping. I thought that was a really cool tip. So that's why I leave my plates in. All right, now we're gonna line this up so that it's pretty much in the center. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's crafting, it's homemade. Nothing has to be perfect. It just has to be pretty when we're done, right? Okay. We're gonna crank this through. All right, sorry, it's jiggling a lot. My camera's jiggling a lot when I crank this thing. All right, and then we're gonna, and then I have this piece that I can use on another card at another time. So cool. I'll put that somewhere so I have it for later. Okay, now we're gonna bring in the one that, see how this is just slightly bigger? We want the slightly bigger one to be cut next. And we're just gonna cut that out of regular white cardstock. This is wide enough. I have scraps everywhere. This is why you never throw away your scraps, because you never know what you might be able to use on another card on another day. Okay. All right. I'm gonna run this through. All right. And then I think we're done with cut and emboss machine for a little bit. Move that out of the way. Okay. All right. Okay, this part's a little tricky too, but should go together pretty well. All right, so we have our base, and now we have our insert. And I think I kind of like the color coming through down at the bottom. Okay, so we're gonna do that. I need my Stampin' Dimensionals. And we're only gonna put him on the bottom for right now. Okay, put him on the bottom. Center it between the two score marks as best as you can. Like that. All right, and then I need to find the stamp that I want to use. I'm always happy when I open a stamp case and the one I'm looking for is there, because sometimes it's not there and I don't know why. All right, so this stamp says he lives, and I'm going to use Memento black ink, which gives a really nice sharp image to pretty much anything that you stamp. It's pretty good. It's pretty good stamp pad. Oh, snap. See what I just did? Guess what? We'll just flip it over. It's got black all over. All right. So just center it up as best as you can and stamp it. And then we're gonna get a tape runner. Not this one. Do you guys have favorite tape runners? I do. And this one is my favorite tape runner. All right, so we're gonna tape this. I'm afraid I'm gonna get black ink everywhere now. Okay, and we're just gonna kind of line it up in there. Lay it down like so. Okay. All right, this part's a little tricky too. And I recommend not using a tape runner for this part because, again, I ruined 10 cards using a tape runner. It wasn't strong enough. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna take these two panels that we scored and cut the triangles out of, and you're gonna line them up as best as you can. So you don't want them to be like this. See how this is kind of sticking out? You want them to be lined up really well, and you also want them to be centered in the circle. All right, so I need to line it up a little better. And I'm gonna use tear and tape because like I said, the tape runner just was not strong enough, and pretty much all of my cards fell apart. So that was fun. All right, but I'm glad I figured it out before I put them in the mail, because that would have been so embarrassing to send out defective cards to 10 people. Okay, so you're gonna line the edge of this flap up with the score mark of the card base. I hope that makes sense. And you're just going to see how this isn't like exactly centered in the circle, so I'm going to move it up. Because when you open it up, it's going to look all weird if you don't have it centered right. Okay. And then you fold this flap over and press down really well. And then when you open it, it opens up like that, okay? And it exposes this circle right here. All right, and then we're gonna do the same thing with this side. We're gonna line this up. Along the score mark of the card base, and we're gonna put more tear and tape on there. And where I went over the edge a little bit, you're just going to fold it back on itself so it doesn't stick out the top, okay? And we're going to line this back up because it moved. And this stuff is super sticky. I'm not going to lie. Okay. So we want it to be lined up. And then we fold this side over also. Push down really hard. So we want it to stick. And then when you open it, I need a new blade. See what happens when you don't have a good blade. But that's okay. I can take sandpaper and sand that down. Okay. So now we want to do the front. So I can't decide what I want to do on the front. I don't know why I love this so much, but I love this die so much. It's ridiculous. And I also love the nested stitched dies that look like this. I love these too. So I can't decide if I want to do this one or if I want to do one of the nested dies. So one of the things that's super important to check is before you do anything is make sure that what you're about to put on, whatever it is you die cut, make sure it fits. And that fits like perfectly. Look at that. Okay, so I'm going to take my purple Posey. This is purple Posey. It's a super light lavender color. And I'm going to cut this on my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Not really sure why it's called a machine. I always think machines are supposed to be electronic, but this isn't electronic. But I guess a machine could be not electronic. Okay, and let's see how that comes out. Comes out pretty good. We have a couple places where we have to punch out the extras. Little pieces that don't belong. Okay. And then I need to mount this on a block. Mount it on a block. Grab my Memento black ink. Make sure I don't have... You can't do this double-sided because the other side isn't pretty. So if I get ink on this side somewhere, I just have to cut another one. So we're going to ink this up really well. Do our best to find the center. Press down. And it says, the greatest gift of Easter is. We're going to mount this on here. But we have to be able to open the card. right? So we're only going to put Stampin' Dimensionals on one side of the card. Okay. And I need new ones. So we're just going to cut up the scraps of my other ones. And I want the card to open like this. Okay, so I'm going to put the dimensionals only on this side. And that might be enough. I might have cut too much. Okay. And then, look at that. I kind of liked this so much because, oh, I forgot to, you know what I forgot to do? Put dimensionals on the rest of it. Okay. I'm like, why is it coming open? I don't know. So once you have everything in there and lined up, then you take 2 more Stampin' Dimensionals and you put it on the top. Oh my goodness, I'm a mess. Look at this. Helps to take the backing off before you stick it, guys. Okay, there. And there. Okay, and then we're going to open this back up, lay it back down. Okay. And I thought this was so incredibly cool because when Jesus was resurrected, he rolled the stone away. And I thought this was so cool. Okay, so that's my card for the day. I hope you enjoyed it. You can adapt this to any die or any theme that you want it to be. And it's just a super cute card. I hope you have a great week.